First order is the approval of our October 26th meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second it? Oh,
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Public comment is we have nobody here for our public comment.
Oh.
We have several public hearings today. The first one is an uneconomic trust and intent to transfer, is the way it's listed. This is the town of Berwick holds money in trusts for several different entities, and these are trusts that have been built up over the years, and several of them were put in the early 1900s. And there's not a lot there. One is the McHugh Lord Trust, then there's Lord's Cemetery Trust, and the Webster Cemetery Trust. All three trusts have a balance of $6,770.61, and they have earned interest of $9.83. The plan, what we would like to do is take those funds and transfer them to one trust pursuant to 13 MRSA subsection 1223, and put that money to the Public Works Department to use them for the cemetery budget in accordance with the trust funds. You have anything to add to that, James?
Yeah, just that the interest is less than $10 for the three trusts combined. Obviously, there's no maintenance that can be done with that $10. So it makes sense to combine it and be able to utilize it and take the accounts off our accounts.
Okay. There's no rule or anything that has to be kept separate and be designated per specific cemetery?
I don't believe so.
This was, a lot of it was written and kind of pre-authorized by legal, and
Okay.
they went through the right channels and they drafted up this language for us.
Okay.
We got permission from the Attorney General's office to do
Right.
this.
Oh, okay.
Right. This is something that, I approached Lisa and Steve last year about it when I was looking through the town items and stuff, and as I said, there's nothing there. Less than $10 in money coming in.
All right.
It probably takes 4 times that just to keep it on the books. So, there are other trust funds that are kept separate, though. The Evergreen Cemetery Trust Fund is kept separate, and the town maintains that and keeps track of it, but that is maintained by the cemetery trust, and the town doesn't touch that one.
Right.
So
Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we approve and combine all of the trusts together and transfer it to the Public Works Cemetery budget.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yep.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. So we'll start that process. Thank you. And now we're doing license renewals, and these are all medical marijuana and cultivation facilities, it looks like. You can bring us through them, James?
Sure. I believe, Lori, are you here for the 468 Portland Street hearing?
Hi, yeah, I am.
Did you have a comment you wanted to provide? Did you have a question or comment or?
No, I didn't have anything to contribute. I was just really calling in to listen.
Okay,
No.
great. So Ken did notify me. He had a water break at one of his other facilities, and he's not able to make the meeting tonight. So I think we could close this hearing, and then we could just table the business till the next meeting, and that have an opportunity for him to reintroduce himself to the board, and you guys can ask him any questions. But he's just become active with the state. It's an adult use storefront and cultivation facility. They just opened up, but I've had no complaints, and Ken's been pleasant to work with. So I think we can table it, and then
Well, it is, these are all existing
they are
things, these are all just renewals.
correct.
I've talked to the chief of police and the captain about all of these facilities in the past, and both of them said that truthfully, they have had no trouble at all, no complaints from anything, and that, the only time they've ever had any trouble was there were been false alarms on the security systems. And,
Yeah, I have no objection to moving forward with renewing licenses.
None of these, you said that, and apologies, I can't remember, but a couple meetings ago, we had a woman in here complaining about one of the facilities that's not one of these three?
Bill's here for 398 School Street. We'll get into that. We have
Okay.
some updates for that.
Okay.
Noah, I don't know if you have anything to say, but as I said, we haven't had any problems with any of these things. I have no problem moving forward with the renewal, even if.
I have no objection going forward.
Anybody care to make a motion?
Is this just for the first one?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we renew the adult use storefront nursery and cultivation facility.
468 Portland Street.
468 Portland Street, yeah, Herbal Pathways.
All right, we have a motion, do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is yes. All right. Up next is medical marijuana cultivation facility at 398 School Street.
So Jen and I, we've made great traction lately on 398 School Street. There's been intermittent odor control issues, and we've been able to identify which unit it is, and it's not Mr. Stilfin's. And we've identified the issue. The issue isn't carbon filtrations failing, it's they're opening the doors and letting the air out. So that's working with the property owner. Jen's been in contact with him. She's actually going to get on site in the next week or so, and she's also she was in contact with Miss Hughes lately and Mr. Wheat, who brought up the concerns. So she's talked with them this week, and she's going to get out on site to take pictures for the lighting issues and hope to get a resolution on that.
What was the feedback from the residents when she talked to them?
Just that there was the odor issue, but now it is gone, and that it does pop up intermittently where it doesn't exist, but then some days it is overbearing. So just and trying to get to the bottom of the lighting issue of where exactly the light fixture is and where it's pointing, and if it is indeed intruding on the property line. That's the next piece.
So do we have an ETA of when they're going to get some of this resolved?
The goal would be, by the time there's a next 398 School Street application that we have, and which will be soon, to have that resolved.
Yeah, because as Linda mentioned, there's a couple meetings back, is we had people in here complaining, and they're talking about not just the lights and the smell, but also that there appeared to be other activities going on there after hours. There was no rumor of somebody living there, and things like that. So I haven't seen anything to convince me otherwise yet.
Yeah, it took
Great.
us a little while. I sent 2 letters to the property owner, and we sent a few emails. But now, just recently, he's reached out to us, and I really feel like we are making traction. I mean, if we're at the same point the next time, it might already be to that point where you haven't seen enough progress on the situation. So I understand that.
So just to be clear, the license that we're looking at right now, the medical marijuana cultivation facility at 398, that is not the whole Raymond Place facility.
They're just one tenant in the
One
building.
tenant in there. So
Are they the tenant that had the issues with the door and the smell?
No, different
Okay.
unit.
All right.
I'm James mentioned working with Jen McCabe is our code enforcement on this, and my understanding is that the owner of the facility hasn't been exactly pleasant to deal with.
Right.
It hasn't been, responsive sometimes. I hate to hold anybody's license hostage. However, this has been an ongoing issue with Mr. Springer, I guess, and we haven't had any real resolution on it. Every time I've talked to Jim McCabe, our code enforcement, there's something else, putting it off. And so I'm having a hard time with this one.
I think one of the thoughts I had was we could do a site walk and I'm not sure, Bill, how you feel about, I know some growers have issues with going inside the buildings, but walking around the site, at least to see at least see your unit from the outside, confirm there's no odor issues, confirm there's no lighting issues, and be able to.
Well, the lighting issue wouldn't be his problem.
Yeah.
That's not his
Right.
problem. And the other people living on the site or doing work after hours isn't his problem. That's why I say I hate to hold them up. How long have you been operating over there?
4.5 years.
Yeah.
I was one of the
You were,
first ones.
yeah, you were one of the originals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I struggle with the same thing. Is here's a person who is leasing the space, is doing the appropriate procedures, but so I have difficulty denying their renewal because the landlord isn't. Is there other options for us? And this isn't the topic right now, but is there other options that we can do for the landlord? Because, I see what you're saying about, well, if we don't approve this, this will squeeze the landlord, but that's not fair to the
Right, right,
business
that's what I
either.
said.
I'm not in the.
I don't wanna
the
do
absence
that.
of somebody who's doing the right thing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is, but to further your point is, when are we gonna get an update and when is something gonna be done?
So
I think, shoot, I'm sorry.
go ahead, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was just thinking, why don't Jen come over? There's her and James and they can check out the units. I know mine, I got everything up to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I like I said, I don't wanna punish you people, for doing what's
Yeah.
right. But
I think-
we need more than just lip service from Mr. Springer.
Yeah, and the directive was clear from the last hearing, but it'll be on Jen and I at this point to make sure that, I could even say, if we see if we can even hold up getting on the agenda until saying, look, there's active issues here that need to be sorted out
Right.
before we even consider another public hearing.
So a question for you, James, is there a master license that he owns to control the whole facility?
It's all the individual license,
So there's nothing we can do by withholding a license from him?
right?
No.
It would be more,
Because it's just a regular business to him, he's just leasing space.
It'd be more land use violations at that point.
All right. Oh, I don't want to interrupt. Anybody else have any? I'm going to make a motion, we approve the relicensing medical marijuana cultivation facility at 398 School Street.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I second.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. So, all right. So then it brings us to medical marijuana cultivation facility and marijuana caregiver retail storefront. The cultivation facility is 1 Blackmore Road, 398 School Street, and 2 Bow Street, main Canna connection.
So the 1 Blackmore Road property, just as a backstory, that's another one of those, we had a couple properties that were approved as agriculture. So they're non-conforming use, but it's a legal non-conforming use. Sent out abutter notices, didn't receive any complaints. And 2 Bow Street, that's the storefront that's downtown. I have, again, sent out abutters notices. And I mean, one issue was we had parking issues 6 or 7 months ago. And between Bill and the property owner, I haven't heard any issues since, so those were addressed. But no, no police issues for the storefront downtown. I did make an error. The 398 School Street, you can cross that part out because that was the previous applicant.
Okay, I thought there was a
Okay.
little.
That was
Yeah,
my question.
Yep.
So, all right. Any questions on this one?
Nope.
So, make a motion to renew the license at 1 Blackmore Road and 2 Bow Street for our main Canna connection.
I'll second it.
All right. Any further discussion? I'll just make one comment, when the storefront down here opened up, I was approached by a lot of people that, it was gonna be the worst thing in the world and everything, and other than the parking issues that we had on Rochester Street, I haven't heard of anybody having any complaints about it. So, other than that, I'll go through the roll. Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And myself is yes. Thank you, everybody. I will close our public hearings. All right, reports of committees, we have none. Department reports, none. Appointments, other guests, none. Unfinished business, the transfer station fees. The last meeting, we got this schedule sent to us, we have a chance to review it. Any questions?
Just a comment. So James, these fees are based on the cost it costs you to get rid of the trash that's
Yeah.
put there.
And
Okay.
I think the idea is to become more comparative to our neighbors.
I'm not worried about our neighbors, I'm just worried about the cost that it costs us
Oh, absolutely.
to dispose of this stuff.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be looking to make money off it, but we should be covering our costs.
Yeah, I think it's,
Well, we probably don't cover our costs, even with an increase.
Okay.
If I recall from a couple meetings back, actually I think one of my first with Steve, when we were talking about this, I think this kind of came up with Jody coming on board and talking about the transfer station. And I think he realized that we were actually taking a hit over there with some of the extra stuff that was getting dumped off, whether that was more people cleaning up their house, being home from COVID or whatever it was, but it sounded like there was a lot more that went out that we ended up paying that
Oh,
we
yeah.
hadn't seen the past years.
Oh, I'm sure during COVID, there was all kinds of people remodeling and cleaning and
Yeah, exactly.
and all that kind of stuff. I do have a follow-up question it used to be that we had, because this is, you bring this stuff in, you got to pay for it individually. We used to do a week cleanup once a year that residents could come and dump stuff off for a week. It used to be that they went around and picked it up, and then that took too long and was too costly, so now it was just a week that you could bring it yourself. do we not do that anymore? I don't recall doing that last
Well,
year.
what we had in place before was, one Saturday a month. You
Right.
could come and dump. And what was happening was everybody waited till that Saturday and would fill 10 dumpsters. And
Oh.
then, we're stuck with all that cost when I first came on the board, back on the board, we talked about this, and one of the other selectmen, Brian O'Connor, has a camp up in Greenville, Maine, and he said up there, they actually have a waste station at the transfer station, so if you're dumping stuff off, you're weighed before and after, and you get paid by the pound.
Wow.
So, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
So,
My-
they really recoup their fees.
Does the town have, any, no, I'm kind of going around in a circle here, but we have a lot of elderly residents that also live in Berwick, and fees like this are significant for them. Is there any kind of resident assistance or anything like that where somebody could come in and get a waiver for one day if like a house was being, you had to move an elderly person out and you'd been a long time resident? I just think that, for most of us working and whatnot, these fees seem reasonable and that. But we do have, some elderly people where, hey, I've got to get rid of a recliner that maybe that's, it's a lot for them. Is there a process in place? Does the town have a process in place?
I don't
No, we don't.
believe
Nothing like that, I understand what you're saying, but as
I'm not saying on a regular basis, but what happens if you got an elderly person you have to go? Is there something like, can the town manager waive it for a day, and there's a process or something like that if you're trying to help an elderly resident out or something?
I mean, I wouldn't mind trying to workshop some language, and then I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind on a case by case basis. If
Exactly.
People come in, and if that's something we want to, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, I'm not saying to set up anything regular or anything like that, but I just think that we should have some, we do have some elderly things, and when you say, oh, it's just a few dollars more, for them, that few dollars is significant. And if they really have a situation where we want them to help clean them up, can we do that? And maybe later on, like you said, we could just have a simple thing where we add some language down the road to be more helpful for them.
we do have a policy in place, say if a resident is having somebody else, using an out-of-state truck or something
Yep.
like that, they can come to the town hall and get a one-day pass.
Yep.
We have those types of things, but we don't have anything, necessarily in place, but, wouldn't be bad to look at, check it out,
Yeah,
so. But,
but as far as, I don't have any issue specifically to this, I'm just, I just think it affects
Right.
that population a little bit more, and if we can do something, just make some
So
language
almost
change.
like a separate senior price list for certain things that might be getting unloaded.
Is there a discount for senior citizens over the age of 65 or 70? Is it that, could we do something like that? And maybe not, waive it completely, but just maybe,
That might just be the,
a 10% discount if you're, you're a resident over the age of 65.
so next year I can.
I just think that we should help out our long-term residents, that's all, and these costs are, hit them the hardest.
So,
But,
other than that, is there any reason not to vote on this tonight?
no.
So, any other questions about it? Not, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer station fees as revised. When do they become effective? I'm sorry, let me make the motion first. But I can't make the motion until I know when they're effective.
we can make them, maybe the cleanest thing to do is to make them just as of the new year.
January
I
1st?
was gonna say first of the year would make sense to me. I know Linda, asked maybe at least a 30-day notice, and I think at this point, yeah, if we just say 2022.
That way we can put a sign up at the transfer station and then people know in advance. It doesn't
Yeah.
surprise anyone. So again, I will make a motion to approve the transfer station fees effective 1/1/2022.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. That's great. That brings us to our town manager report.
So first, I wanted to recognize some outstanding efforts over this past month. First, Patty, the week before the election, sometimes she was by herself holding the fort down and was able to prepare for an election with over 2,000 voters. That was ran flawlessly. So I think that speaks very highly to her skills and the support staff and election workers she has. So great job, everybody, on that. I also want to give a shout out to Jen McCabe. She's really filled a big gap for when I left the planning department. She'd fill in doing minutes, administrative stuff, taking questions, and was willing and able to jump in, no questions asked. And she helped with even stepping in for customer service. And speaking of planning department, a very warm welcome to Tammy Bellman. She's been here for 2 days and has picked up seamlessly where I left off a couple months ago.
Nice.
She's already brought forward several procedural improvements, and I enjoyed chatting with her. She's got a passion for planning, a passion for municipal government. She was an admin assistant to Select Board and Planning Board, Board of Appeals. She wore all kinds of hats in her past positions. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her and Lee J and the Planning Board and to see what they can do together. Also wanted to recognize Star for her efforts in the water department. She's recently taken on a larger workload and responsibility, and she's been doing a great job. I could keep going on, but in the interest of time, I think Jody's doing a great job helping the town look awesome. He did the boiler room doors and roof on the heat pumps. He did the roof on the heat pumps as a weekend project. He's real crafty and just he's an awesome addition to the team. Trunk and Treat was a great success. My son Luca really enjoyed it. He gave his first experience with candy. Angel in the rec department did a fantastic job. And again, I can go on forever, so anyone that didn't mention doesn't mean I don't appreciate the work that you're doing. Everyone's doing an awesome job.
It sounds like you got a really good crew there. Just
Absolutely.
Really, yeah.
Absolutely. I enjoy working with everybody. Now, less fun. We're definitely over 100 employees, which means we're going to be subject to either the vaccine requirements or the option for testing. Linda and I and a few others are attending a workshop tomorrow to kind of go over what that looks like for us. In the meantime, we'll start looking at what the costs are for testing, but I'll start workshopping some language and look at our pandemic policy that we're working on anyways.
Yep.
Tomorrow will be, if it's okay with the board, will be closed tomorrow. There's maintenance for the sewer. You'll notice that they've been doing sewer, and they are pushing stuff out through the pipes that are clogged, but at the same time they're pushing the stuff out, they're lining the pipes. So it's a much needed project.
Much needed.
So are you just closing down the whole town hall tomorrow?
Whole town.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's gonna not smell so great, and the bathrooms will not be usable.
Yeah, the facilities won't be used, we can't run any water down, because they have to dry the pipes. They have to clean the pipes, dry the pipes, and then put the epoxy in and let that dry. So it's a 3-stage process, so,
That's all I got.
yeah.
Good.
So, all right, any questions for James?
No, I will say that I don't know who did the artwork out front, but that is a creative way to notify
For the
citizens that I showed up after dark. I noticed it when I was walking up. Any way that we can get the word up.
That was Julie, my deputy. She does a great job at that.
That's awesome.
All right. Selectment Communications. I don't have any official communications. I just have a couple things I want to talk about. One is James said the town hall will be closed tomorrow, but it'll also be closed on Thursday for Veterans Day. And the veterans will be holding their memorial service up at their the Memorial Park off of 236
Yep.
at 11 o'clock. And sounds like it'll be good weather this year, so that's always good. Other than that, I have nothing else. Other than typical people complaining about things, but nothing important.
Yep, yeah. I will say, just too, as an added comment, I stopped in, to vote and to, to look around, and I thought the election went very smooth, because I came after work, so I anticipated getting hit with a big line and whatnot, but it was moving really quickly, and so I thought that was good, and I know that my nieces and my nephew there went to the trunk or treat, and they just loved it. They thought it was just really great. So, again, just backing up your kudos is those are comments that are being made to me as, hey, you guys did a great job with that. I'm like, well, the rec department is just in the last year and a half has done some tremendous stuff. That's really being noticed.
Yep, agreed.
All right. That brings us to accounts payable. We have a payroll warrant number 26 for November 4th, 2021, the amount of $68,812.70. We have an account payable warrant number 27 for November 9th, 2021, and this one is, the big one, is $961,738.35. And then we have payroll warrant number 28 for November 10th, 2021, for the amount of $71,172.62. I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
Second the motion.
No further discussion, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. That brings us to new business and the renewal of on-premises liquor license for Corner Point Brewing with Jamie Blood. Do you know if Jamie's gonna be here tonight, or?
I don't see him, but I
Yeah.
can,
Yeah, go ahead.
this isn't even a local license. This is what the state needs for his state license, so it requires a local approval for his state license. I mean, it's similar to the, past hearings. I don't have any complaints or concerns to bring forward that would prevent us from renewing his license.
So, just a semantics question. So you said this is a state license. Does that mean the state gets all the money from the license?
I believe so.
No.
That's something that Patty and I have talked about, actually, is implementing a liquor license. And that's,
Sounds good to me.
makes sense.
Yeah, this is a renewal. He came by, last year, the same thing. Is, nothing much has changed. I have heard that he's thinking about expanding a little bit, but hasn't done that yet. And other than that, everything is, status quo.
Yeah. I make a motion, we approve their renewal license for Corner Point Brewing.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. I need, before I forget it, and Patty has to come back and get me. All right, Memorial Field expansion. Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. Our legal has developed the deed, purchase and sales, and real estate tax forms. We're also working on the title insurance. After the PNS is signed, the Cormiers have one thing to tie up, and then we should be able to set a date for closing sometime in December. I just need a motion for approval to sign the PNS with the Cormiers to get moving. Again, The terms were $100,000 for 3 acres.
And there's Angela. Hey, Angela.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is something that, you know, what I've been working on for 3 years now, is COVID kind of interrupted it, and, I wish they'd got it done 3 years earlier, it would have been much cheaper.
Yeah, probably with the
I know
value.
it would have been, but, the Cormiers have been, you know, they've been helpful, they've been easy to work with. Their only real request now is that, you know, once we start using the facility, you know, in any meaningful way, we have a fence between our property and theirs now. It'd be just a straight line fence, and,
Seems reasonable, yeah,
so,
It's not, yeah, it's just what to say, that's not an unreasonable ask.
yeah.
right.
So, anything you'd like to add, Angela?
Sorry.
No problem.
No, I just wanted to be a part of it just so I could hear everything that was happening. I'm at basketball right now, so I'm kind of in a corner.
So, yeah, you know, we have no immediate plans for this property. You know, it was talked about with the master plan and the possibility, but is the biggest thing is over the next, you know, 6 or 8 months is just getting in there and figure out exactly what we want to do with it, so.
Right.
Is,
Right,
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff that we can do with it. You know, we've talked about trails too, and really utilizing that area for snowshoeing and cross-country skiing, and, you know, expanding the fields as well. There's tons of potential. We just gotta figure out which way we wanna go with it.
right?
okay.
Right. So we need a motion to okay the town manager to sign off on the purchase and sales agreement? That be sufficient?
So moved.
We have a motion from Noah, do we have a second?
Second,
Second,
Any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
yes,
Mike,
yes.
and myself is yes. All right,
Thank you, guys.
no problem, thank
Night.
you.
Exciting.
All right, personal property account write-off, Berwick Storage and Supply LLC. Boy, if Mark was here, he'd have something to say.
Well, this one, it's a new owner who doesn't have the equipment that was charged to them. So my recommendation is to write off the amount of $970.72. Because again, it's a different owner who didn't have that personal equipment that they were charged for.
I'm sorry, I don't have the background on this, so it's a new owner, so they were charged a fee for having equipment there?
Well, it is what it is, what happened was the previous owner had equipment there that fell under the personal property tax.
Oh,
provision.
okay,
No, not the property tax, but the personal property, no equipment, that kind of stuff in there. And when he sold it, he must have taken that equipment with him. And so now that equipment isn't there, but it was kept on the bill that was sent to him.
the tax, I see,
So
okay,
that's my understanding of it.
No, that's well said.
okay, all right, that makes, okay,
Yeah, the previous owner had the equipment, the latest one doesn't. So,
right, so he doesn't want tax on it, I
Right.
see, okay.
so
Anybody
Uh,
else have any?
we need.
No, that makes sense to me. Thanks for clearing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll make a motion to write off the account with Berwick Storage and Supply. Not the amount of $921. Don't remember what the change was.
All right.
44 cents.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not, I'll go through the roll. There's Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is yes. So, personnel policy revisions.
So this personal policy update, there's for the bigger ticket items, including the smaller ones, the grammatical changes. The big one is the PTO, paid time off, replaces sick and vacation time for most employees.
What pages?
I think it's 715 maybe? Did I get that one right?
Yeah, this is what we had talked about before, correct? We went through that and changing it, the personal
815.
page 15, yeah.
It doesn't break out how much pay time they get?
It's on the bottom of the 8.15, years of service, work week. That's,
Yeah, that's 8.15. I'm saying up here for full-time, regular full-time employees. Up top. It says paid time off, but it doesn't say how much they get per year. What's their annual PTO?
You approved a PTO policy when that first,
Right, so what I'm asking is, how much PTO? Do they get 2 weeks a year, 15 days? Do they get 20
I think
days?
Linda's looking for the accrual rate.
the thing is, there's hours earned per week.
Oh, I see it, yeah. Page 32
Okay,
has the accrual rate.
that's what I'm looking for, okay.
That's it.
Oh, okay, sorry, I couldn't see the page numbers, but thanks, Mike. Yeah, page 32.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Luckily, Patty put this together for somebody else that I took, so, you know, I'm all set here.
There's a few other pieces.
Well, I have a question, I just wanted to see, so for those, so people are changing to PTO, which I understand, I think that's good, it gives people more flexibility. But what about the people who currently have accruals on the books, where does that go?
I think that's all sorted out through the policy. So we've already switched because we adopted the PTO
Right.
policy. I think this just puts it in the personnel policy.
So did we pay them off for
Yeah,
the
I
time
think
they
this
had?
is-
Yeah, there was a transfer from the sick and vacation time was like, we didn't, so I had sick and vacation time and then it was put on the books as
PTO.
a lump sum
So
of
nobody
PTO.
lost any time switching to PTO?
Right,
That's
that's
what I'm
my
asking.
understanding.
Okay,
yeah.
so
There
no-
might be some exceptions with, I forget exactly how it happened where we had some extended discussions on maximal allowable and I think that was all sorted through. I think
Okay,
there's 720 hours, so I don't believe anyone lost time.
that's what I'm saying, is there's just, the employee can't come back and say, well, you switched to PTO and I lost 20 hours of sick time.
Right,
It was transferred over.
right.
Okay,
Right.
all right,
Yeah, and if I'm right, I think this is something that they did last year before we
Right.
even came on. I think this is going forward, the personnel policy that we're looking at now, right?
Right.
yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I mean, is I remember reading this beforehand, and it was a
Yeah.
change right around that time just before, so I remember going back and looking at it, and now I just was trying to make sure that nobody lost anything changing over. I think PTO is definitely the way to go, I just,
Good. Other ones, there's,
the board approved that policy in May of 2021, so
Right.
Yeah,
before
that's it.
yeah,
we both, Linda.
That's what I thought was.
Yeah, and this was basically just changing the language from vacation sick to PTO.
okay,
the other piece is adding Juneteenth as a holiday. And then there's a couple of technical ones. Since we switched to PTO, one of the changes is requiring at least 80 hours of PTO to be able to gift time.
Okay.
And then the other one is when we do retire rehires, that we put in a week requirement between the retire and rehire
Yep,
because the time has to be completely off the books.
right. You have to go through a payroll cycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And James, we need a vote from the board about the Juneteenth holiday because the board said to wait for the contract negotiations, but I was told today that, you were going to ask them to approve that holiday for all employees because it is being added to the contracts.
And that's,
Did you know that?
yeah, and it will, yeah, and just, yeah, on the, to piggyback on that, that's something that, yeah, will be added to the contracts.
Yeah, so we need a motion from the board that they approve the Juneteenth holiday for town employees.
Got it.
So we have two separate issues.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any more questions on the personnel policy revisions? If not, I'm looking for a motion to accept or reject.
I'll make a motion to accept the personnel policy revisions. Effective, looks like 11/1/2021.
Yep. I'll make a second the motion.
A motion and a second, as I'll go
And it
through
will be effective today, 11/9.
Okay.
11/9, okay. All right, I'll go through the roll. Is Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. You want us to vote on the Juneteenth thing now also, or could that wait, or?
Is it part of the policy
If you're
manual?
comfortable with it, I'm sorry?
Is it part of the policy manual? Is it listed in here? Because
Yeah,
if it is, then didn't we just vote on it? If we voted on the policy manual and it's included in here, didn't we just vote on it?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. James, are you okay with that?
I
If
am.
you need an official, I'll make a motion to adopt
Yeah, we
the
just-
federal Juneteenth holiday. Is that, do we need that?
That will
I mean, I'm
help.
okay.
Yeah, we might as well make
Make
sure.
Patty's life easier.
Okay, I second the motion.
Thank you.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
I didn't mean to throw you off, Patty, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just told we needed it, so.
all right.
I'll make an official motion, that's fine.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the federal holiday of Juneteenth. Is any further discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. All right. And now the election results. You're up, Patty.
So, yes, let's see, we had official numbers for town and state were 1982 votes. Everything passed for those two. The school, we had a total of 1985 votes, and that failed. So what that says is that 3 absentee ballots only contain the school ballot, and they elected not to vote for the town or state election. So, yeah, we had good flow all day long. It was very busy. It went well. It was the earliest election. I was out of here at 9 o'clock, so that was really good.
Yeah, that's a good one for you.
Yeah, good numbers. So that was nice to see.
Well, thank you, Patty, and all your team. You did an excellent job as usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is,
Yes, thank you.
you know, these trying times, it certainly is nice to have something run smoothly.
Yeah, and people were great. They followed the X's on the sidewalk, and that seems to work.
Yeah. And,
We started that with the presidential, and it worked, so it's good.
Thanks.
all right. All right.
Thank you.
We have no quitclaim deeds, abatements, second public comment. We have no executive session tonight. Now, other business and non-agenda items. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
Yeah, I just want to say something about the election that we just had here. One, great turnout, very happy with that. I'm sure the Berwick voting group is very happy with it as well. They did a good job making sure there was visibility on it. Patty did a great job as well for running it very smooth. Most people were in and out, and it was not a chore or problem at all. But also we had two major things. We had question 1 for the power line for the CMP corridor. They spent more money on the no campaign than the yes campaign by a long shot, and it still was defeated. So I think that should tell us, money can't just buy elections. That's a good thing to still know in this, time and place. And the other thing is that for the people that always complain that everything just gets passed and approved and nobody ever pays attention to what's going on, the school renovations were voted down, and not just by a little bit, by a lot.
Yeah, significant.
Your vote does count. It does matter. It is important. And now the school board is going to have to go back to the drawing board and try again with something probably a little more modest. So I just want to draw attention to the fact that votes do matter, and it is important that we get out and vote. And money doesn't buy elections. Those are important things to know in this time and place in America. So,
Well said.
yeah.
Yes, good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other business? If not, we'll have one motion tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor said yes.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Patty, I'll have you there tomorrow or Thursday.
I'm all set with signatures, no, thank you though.
Are you really?
They're closed tomorrow, remember?
I'm closed tomorrow.
And they're closed Thursday too.
Right.
There we go.
Oh, that's right.